I was in Lidl and I got sushi.
Sushi?
It was only €5.
Sushi. It's my favourite.
€5.
Yo-yos.
Okay, I hit that screen again.
We did it! We are
Here, don't
live.
get too excited now because...
No, it's fine now, look.
Yeah.
See?
Okay. Hi.
Howdy, partners. I was watching Little Rascals over the weekend. Have you watched that with your boys yet?
I'm not sure.
Oh my god. They would
I'm
love
going to
it.
put my hand here. Is that okay?
That's
I'll prop
okay.
myself up.
They're the perfect age to watch it.
Little Rascals.
Little
Well,
Rascals.
they are rascals.
I have the DVD. We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Now, I know I'm always paranoid about sound, so I figured out what it is. It's low enough to hear us when you're watching on your phone, but actually it's loud enough on the computer. So whoever listens to us on the computer, what are you smiling at now?
Because I'm trying to work that one out in my head.
Okay, so when you're listening to us on a computer, the sound is fine. When you're listening to us on the phone, when you're listening to us on the phone, it's not so loud.
Do you ever notice that people do that to people who don't speak English?
Yeah, my mother always speaks broken
They
English. Well, she doesn't speak at all.
Slower, and they talk like this. And
No,
you're like,
my
"That's
mother
not
speaks
gonna help."
broken English. You like cup of tea? Okay. And tennis club, end of road, yes? And I'm like, Mom, how is she going to learn English when you're not speaking a proper sentence to her?
Who speaks like that to her?
My mother used to speak broken English to the French ones.
I
think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I thought you were saying someone spoke like that to her now. I was like, who'd be speaking to her like that now? Oh my lord.
That is so mean. Just because my mother is drunk and she can't speak doesn't mean take the
Well,
piss
that's
out of her.
exactly what I thought. That somebody was taking the piss out of her speaking to her like that.
Oh no, and they actually do. They say to her like, so say if my mother is there and her carer or whoever's with her is over there, and they're like, and how's Kathleen today? And how's your form? Is she okay? And can she speak now? And like, firstly, the person you're not speaking to, blah, blah, blah. The person you're speaking to is not deaf. They can understand you. Plus, my mother's beside you. She can also hear you and understand you.
Yeah,
so
not deaf.
Speak to her. You can just speak like a normal voice and that's fine.
And also, FYI, deaf people can also read lips. So you don't have to speak to them like this. Honest to God. Anyway, right, so off the topic. Today, I want to chat with Thelma about relationships and how they tend to cross over. So friendships and business, how you distinguish between whether somebody is a friend or somebody is a business colleague or business acquaintance or business friend even. And what happens when the lines are blurred and sometimes you can end up feeling used, or you might be wondering if you're using somebody else because you just haven't drawn that line and figured out the boundaries and the respect around it. And we've had a good few conversations about this, and just knowing the difference and being respectful of people who are in business, because when you're self-employed, when you're an entrepreneur, or even when you're working for someone but you have a skill set that other people could use and benefit from, and those people are potentially your friends, or they think they're your friends because you have a skill set.
Or they just become your friends because you've got a skill set.
Yeah. And it'd be just interesting to get you guys' opinion on if it's happened in your life, if you're self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you have a skill set or talents that people take advantage of. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. And also, it could be a case of just being very friendly.
I just caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror in the phone and went, oh my God, Grandma. Jesus. How do I change that?
Can I just say something?
Do I need a nose job?
We're missing from this much up. We're like little hobbits.
If I had a nose job, it wouldn't be so pointy and I wouldn't be so grandma-like, but I like my nose.
Because I think we're used to looking like, I was going to say at the lens, I was going to use a different word. When it's sideways, we kind of look better.
I think it's my hairband.
But the fact that the lens is up higher,
I look like Holy Julia.
We tend to look down. We tend to look down a bit. I know you guys are so sick of us talking about we can't get this back and angle right, or whatever.
We don't really care either. My brother calls me Julia Kathleen. I feel like I look like Julia Kathleen today. Whoever she is, that's who I feel like I look
Possibly.
like. How are you, Sharon?
Oh yeah, I was trying to read it. What's that?
Says is watching. See, I can invite her on.
Hey, how did that happen? Does your camera just like, you know, sometimes our computers and our phones just update themselves every now and again?
It never updated for you. Maybe there's something in that, Thelma.
Anyway,
Okay,
so
so-
hang on a second now, right? So you're saying skills or talents, whatever, but what about, which is also very important, if you're very giving of your time and other friends or family know that, or the people know that, and then all of a sudden they're your friend, and then you're always giving up your time, and then it's not like the balance is off then. Yeah, okay.
So I found a while back, because of what I do, because I coach, or even like I was a fitness instructor and personal trainer for 19 years, and I was saying this to Thelma the last day, I'd happily say to people, you know, oh my God, I'll meet you at the gym and I'll help you train, because people would say, oh, I wish I could get fitter, or I wish I could train, or and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'd say, no bother, I'll meet you at the gym and I'll train with you. And inevitably they would come for, you know, maybe a couple of weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, and then everything would stop. And there'd be no payment, and that was fine because I was offering my services and I don't mind doing that. But it was very apparent that those who were doing it, now some people did it and they did it with the best intentions. And those are the people who I was like, I'm totally there for you, because I know that there's a reason behind you wanting to do what you do. But there have been plenty of people years and years ago who would happily jump on the bandwagon and take advantage of the fact that I was offering my time, and wouldn't even consider saying, you know, we'll pay you for your time or anything like that. And what people don't realize is when you're self-employed or you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, that you've put 10, 15, 20 years of work into yourself.
I thought you were going to say thousands. Plus
Oh,
thousands.
that too, plus thousands into your, and I'm talking like, I'm not talking 2,000 or 3,000, I'm talking tens of thousands into yourself. And so when you're offering a service and you offer it for free, or you offer something and somebody has no intention of ever paying for it, they're missing the point of the value that they're getting from your massive experience and your education. Then I think it gets worse when somebody knows what you're doing and calls you on purpose, or asks to meet you on purpose to pick your brains, and wants all of the information, and does it in a way that before you even realize what's happened, you're going, that was an hour of my life I'm never going to get back, and also I could have charged for it.
But I think because you're like, we love what we do, in regards to whatever field that is, and they know that.
Yeah.
So they know that all they have to do is ask the question, you're like,
Yeah.
and because you do blur the lines with friendship there, you give them all of this stuff, and then it's kind of like, oh, hold on a second, I could have charged for that. Do you know?
Yeah.
But then the charging is funny then with friends, and
oh, totally. Money is the strangest thing ever, and it really shouldn't be. I had a friend of mine, his name's Carl, he's a coach in China, and he had put a post up this morning about money, and the topic of money being like a taboo subject, like sex and like
religion.
No, so he'd mentioned something else that was another complete taboo. And he was saying, you know, that nobody talks about it, and you say it in whispered tones, shh, don't talk about money, and, you know, don't bring money up in conversation.
It's like a shame about it or something.
Totally. And don't ask another person what they're earning, and don't ask anyone about their pay packets, and don't tell anyone about what you've saved, and don't tell anybody about what you've spent on yourself. Just don't talk about money, and don't talk about when you haven't got any, because nobody needs to know that. And don't talk about when you have loads, because then you're boasting. In the middle of all of that is, when do I talk about money? Hey Roz, how's it going? When do I talk about money? Like, and why is it such a dodgy topic?
And how come some people are very good at talking about it?
Yeah.
And that they're very good at selling things and getting the money over the finish line, and others aren't.
Yeah, like closing a sale. Even the term closing a sale actually gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm like, oh God, do I have to go down this route? I just want things to all come to me naturally, you know, for me to resonate really well with people energetically, and them to be like, here, have all my money. Not for me to have to say, so I'm charging you €4,000 for 5 minutes of my time. Thanks. Even saying it, I'm like, no, I don't want to do it.
Personally, myself, like because I want to give so much, and I'm a server just by nature, that for me, I feel that to ask for money on a service that I'm providing takes away the goodness of what I'm doing. And that's the catalyst for me, I think. I feel like it undermines what I've just done and just kind of cheapens the whole thing. And this is awful intense. Kira's like literally in my mouth. And So that, I think that's what it is for me, and I wish that we could have gone back, or could go back to the bartering times, because then there's give and take and it's kind of neutral in that. But then I suppose when it comes to bartering, there still has to be a certain amount of worth on what you provide, because if you did something for me and I felt like, well, actually no, I needed, for what I want to give you, I want to give you less because I feel what you've done doesn't amount to what I'm going to give you, whether it's like meat or whatever the case it is, and you know, you've done like half a day on the land and I'm going to give you meat or something in place of it, but I think maybe whatever.
But that's two things that you said in there are so, it's gold. First of all, the barter system was fantastic. And if the barter system was re-implemented now, I think it'd be fantastic. Like, so therapists do it all the time. Like 2 different massage therapists will give each other a massage once a week. And it keeps them honest, it keeps their bodies working properly. And then they're also feeling really good when they go off and they massage other clients. I did a phone call for a lady months ago and hadn't thought about anything after it, but it would have been lovely had something come on the back of that she was amazing at. And it's funny to see how barter can work really well, like mentoring or coaching and a different therapy, or if you come and you fix my washing machine, I'll give you dance lessons. That happened with somebody who came to my house before, and it was the thing that he had asked for in the moment.
Were you the fixer of the washing machine?
I was the fixer of the washing machine, totally. Yeah. And he was the dance teacher. Can you see how that works? But what you just said there at the very beginning is so powerful. Like, you would prefer to give your stuff away because it feels better energetically. Oh my God, Thelma, if that's not the way we were brought up, if that's not the shit that we learned in school and the money mindsets that we've learned from our own family life, it diminishes every single thing we've worked hard for. That feeling of, I want to give because I don't feel like I can take, because it cheapens the whole experience, rather than putting a value on everything that you do and saying, no, my God, I'm worth this. And everything that I do is adding value to the other person. And I can say this all day long. And sometimes I still have little niggly moments around the whole money thing, you know, when I'm offering whatever services I'm providing. And it's the weirdest thing. It's just, I think we were taught so badly.
For me, like, even when I had my hair salon and I was taking their money, like the whole thing, taking their money, it felt like it's not mine to be given. And yet I was doing that service, and I'd have this kind of really gut kind of, feeling like, oh my God, I have to charge them now. Like, and the guilt about charging them and how much I should charge them. So I suppose underneath all of that, that for me boils down to then your self-worth, and that you feel that your time's not worthy enough, or that your skill's not worthy enough to get paid for. Do you know? And yet they tell you like, oh, I have to pay for it down the road, or, you know, I don't mind paying for it, but it must be something in us. And then, like, if you get into the whole religious aspect of things, right? Apparently you're put on this universe to be of service, always be of service. So if we're always of service to people, then it's very hard to receive when you're someone who's off service.
I see what you're saying, but I think you have to learn the balance then. So you have to learn to be as accepting of other people's service as you are of giving your own. And like, put it this way, when you go to the hairdressers, right? Imagine if she was feeling the way you're feeling and didn't want to take your money because she felt like she was cheapening what she did. Meanwhile, you know that when you go to a good hairdresser's and you're happy to be vocal about it, that you come out feeling like $1 million, your hair is beautiful, you feel amazing, you're standing up nice and tall. And so the value of her doing what she did.
I suppose you're taking away the gift of giving for them. And that's huge, because then that's like an unconscious selfish act then, if you're taking away the gift of giving for them. But that's, I think, when people who are nice like me and you, other people might feel that way.
Or maybe we just aren't around enough givers. Maybe we need to, hello, my name is Kira and this is Thelma, and we're looking for givers in our life. We're looking for servers to come into our lives. So if you feel that you fit that tag, title, whatever, please apply below. That would be lovely. Thank you so much.
So I suppose that what's difficult is that I've crossed the line a few times is say for instance when I was hairdressing. So hairdressing is a very kind of a personal thing. It's right up there. You're like in their hair, you're touching their skin, you know, and also people tend to waffle on to hairdressers about what's going on in their lives, and I suppose they're there for a while in the chair and that, and then if they're frequent customers, it's kind of like you get like, say, episode 1, episode 2, and so on and so forth. So you kind of start building what I would have thought a friendship kind of a thing, you know. And then I realized that if you get sick, they don't really, it highlights that you actually were never really friends, that all you ever were was people who gave and received a service between each other. And that for me, I found to be very, very difficult, because I take people for face value and I treat them the way I like to be treated. And I just give of my heart. I'm just a giver, and I maybe wreck people's heads because I give so much of my heart. And when I'm doing your hair and everything, I want everything to be right. I'm perfectionist, and maybe that's my own little demon that I have. And so I would think that at this point now that we're friends, and I'm chatting about different things. So I've started now to open up a bit about my personal life.
I'm looking at you.
And so how about we move these over, or shall we not? No. So I then started telling these people about my personal life and different things. So they're kind of getting to know me on a really personal level. And like, say, when I was pregnant with my son Moses, and when Moses was sick and I thought he wasn't going to survive in the womb, and I was kind of upset, but I've said to my clients, should I be working or not? Because I didn't want my personal life to affect them, because some days you'd have your off day, but I'd still give the best service I could possibly give, and they were happy for me to continue on doing that, you know. And then when he was born, these people who I thought then were friends didn't contact me, didn't see how he was, because Moses wasn't meant to survive, and they kind of just wanted to know where they could get their hair done next, or who would be of the same type of standard of hairdressing that I'm at. Oh my God, that's like a kick in the teeth, because you might have had this client for years, you know, and then all of a sudden you realize, I've told you loads of personal stuff, you never really cared, you only ever really cared about your hair. I found that a very hard pill to swallow, really, really hard, because then I think, if I can't trust you, and you're always, you're such a good friend, and you're so nice, and you're this, that, and the other, and sometimes you might happen to meet them out as well, then when do you know if somebody's a friend or somebody's not a friend?
Well, I think that during all of that time of when you had clients, you were building rapport with them, but you thought you were building a friendship because of the way they were being. And it was just that the lines got blurred for you more than for them. When people say, and I think we said this before, when people say, oh my God, you're such a great friend in that situation, what they actually mean to say is, you're such a great listener. But people don't have the knowledge of how to say that sentence, so friend comes out, because it's the easiest thing to say.
Yeah, but sometimes though, you're such a good listener can be so impersonal as well, and they might want to say that, because it's not like, because it's a bit more than that, because sometimes the topics, like, people have talked to me about,
but it's not really any more than that. It genuinely isn't. In people's heads, when they offload, when they sit with you and they get that opportunity to literally have verbal diarrhea about whatever's going on in their lives, that's exactly what you've been. You've been the listener, you've been the confidant. They know it's going nowhere else. They feel like they're in a completely safe space. And so for them, that's exactly what it was. But they genuinely don't have the language to say, and in their minds, they probably do think, oh Jesus, that's a bit impersonal. You're a great friend. Meanwhile, you're left going, oh, that's so nice. How do I build on that? Meanwhile, they're thinking in their minds, I'm going off now to just do my business. And when I see her for my next hair appointment, I'll tell her she's a great friend again.
Yeah, and then it is hard, because there are the one or two that you do actually like, and you do get that like really good connection with, that I'm like, you know what, I like the personality, I like what they stand for in that, and okay, it's so daunting as an adult to make friends, because we were saying this, like, when you're younger, my son Moses, or Jonah, well, not so much Jonah, but Moses would say, hi, what's your name? Can we be friends? And then they're friends, and that's how it goes, and that's how it grows. Oh, I like that one.
There you go.
And but as an adult, we have so much fear around being rejected, not being liked, not being good enough, whatever the case may be. So it's very hard to put yourself out there and say, oh, listen, it'd be lovely to meet for a coffee someday. And I've done that, and then it's like, we're like, oh yeah, definitely, oh, it must ring, I'll give you my number then. And then I do text them once or twice, and it's still like, I'm like,
she's just not that into you.
she's not fucking into me.
If you've seen the movie, he's
And then
just
how?
not
And
that
then,
into you.
and then, how can you be friends and after going? You meet, so they're coming back to get their hair the next day. Like, oh, sorry, I never rang you. Like, yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah, I know, yeah, and they're still doing their hair, and that's it. And then it's kind of like you've just been rejected by a guy, but in this case, it's a girl, and you have to carry on smiles and keep doing their hair. And in the meanwhile, you want to like cut a fat piece of their hair. Never do that.
Yeah, watch the movie. We talked about this in the pool the other night. He's just not that into you. And the first time I watched it, and I've watched it twice because it's really good, and you can apply it to friendships as much as you can to relationships. Like, if somebody isn't giving you questions, if they're not meeting you, if they're not contacting you, if they're not calling you back, they're just not that into you. It doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It just means that they don't particularly want to interact. They have their circle, or they have their friends, or they only need you for one thing, and that's to do their hair and to listen, or to give them a massage and to listen, or whatever it is. So it's quite hard to find friendship within business. It's easier to have friends and then they connect into your business. It's much harder to do it the other way around.
Well, I think as a business person, you can't get friendly with your staff. And if you do, you have to have strict boundaries. They have to know where each other's starts and the other finishes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because it's not about power necessarily, but it's definitely about respect. And there's certain things like you wouldn't say to your mom, or you wouldn't say to your boss, or you wouldn't say to a grandparent, or whatever the case is. There is respect, you know.
Yeah.
And then. So I think that to be friendly with somebody in business has to be somebody from a separate business. Depending how big the business is, I suppose. But being in business is extremely lonely, because I've made the mistake of, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to any staff that I had in the past, I just didn't know any different. And any of you guys now that have your own salon, or that may have it going forward, you'll also see that actually you're not meant to mix business and pleasure. You're not meant to get friendly with the staff, because the lines get blurred, and then you're friends, and then it's hard to say, no, you can't have this day off because it looks like it's a personal thing, or you didn't get on one night and it's a personal thing, and it might never be a personal thing, it just doesn't suit the business.
Or manage if something goes wrong. That can be quite difficult when you're all pally-pally and suddenly something happens. And the person who you're pally-pally with has done something wrong. We all do things that are wrong, and then you have to take them to task. And then that line is completely blurred, because then they're going, well, hang on, I thought you were my friend. I am, but I'm also your boss. Well, then how do you differentiate? Yeah.
I went to a salon coach guy because of this. And he had said to me at the time, you need to fire all your staff. And I was like, what? Oh my God, I can't fire staff. That's why I'm not really probably a good boss, because I hate hurting people's feelings. And this is why I was always in long-term relationships, because I hated breaking up with people. I just hate being that mean person. And he said, no, you're going to have to get rid of your staff, because if the power has shifted in your business, it's very, very, very hard to get that power back. And you just need to start on a clean slate.
Yeah, and you can see that, you see, because if you were to start acting differently in your business, then you're going to be hated. So then nobody would work well for you anyway. So that must be a horrible position to be in.
Yeah, and unless you're really, really good at emotion intelligence, and you sit down with the whole group of people and you have a vision board or whatever the case is, and you say, right, this is where we want the business to grow to, and this is how this is going to work. And there are certain things that I'm not on board with that maybe have slipped, and there are certain things that I am on board with, and I want respect between the whole place, but this has got to change with this, this, and this, and this. And they may not like it, but then as long as they feel that they're getting something good out of it as well in some other shape or form, I think then it can work. But you have to be very, very good at having them strict boundaries and not having them lines blurred, and not waver in the whole being stern and keep your blinkers on in that moment. And that could take 6 months. And after that 6 months, then you'll see people start dropping in and settling into the position in which you had first had a vision for. But it's that kind of 6 months thing that you're like, do they like me? Do they not like me? Whereas men can be a bit better at that, because they're kind of just like,
they don't care.
They don't get emotionally attached in a sense, you know.
So what have you guys come up against with business? Have you come up against uncomfortable relationships with friends when you've set up your business? Have you come up against starting your business and finding new friends that weren't actually friends? Have you made amazing friends after getting into business, whether they were in business or not? Do the lines get blurred?
Have you lost friends from setting up your business?
Yeah.
Because who was it? Probably Joe Brawley, but who was it that said that Irish people, I think it was Gabe Byrne actually, I was listening to it lately, that Irish people are a nation of begrudgers. And I think that's kind of sad, because actually we were in the top 5 givers in Europe for giving of ourselves and giving off our money for charities and that. We're in the top 5, I think actually possibly even the top 3. So we don't begrudge in that way, but we begrudge our friend or our neighbour succeeding without us, if you like. And
so crazy, isn't it?
Isn't
it just baffles me that
and people
feel
will say
like
it's a small town thing. It's a small town thing, and it's probably like a city thing too. It's just that it's not as obvious in a city than it would be, say, here in a small town. But like, I suppose I'm drawn towards entrepreneur people. And
I see ya.
That I have seen people who have come from one job to set up their own business and maybe have tried a few different type of businesses until they actually succeeded. And I've seen their friends wouldn't go to their events, their friends wouldn't show up, their friends wouldn't ask them how it is. I've done this myself, and I know a few others have had signage on their car. Their friends wouldn't ask them about it, their family wouldn't care to ask them. And I think that's actually so heartbreaking, because because then it kind of really makes you evaluate where you are in your relationship and what
totally
kind of self-worth that you have, say, with them as well. And so I've always made a point that when I know anybody, even if I don't know them, and I know they've gone to set up a business or I've seen it on Facebook, I'll always, if I have the time, I'll always show up for them. Because
thanks, yeah, you're a star.
Thanks. I'll always show up for them because I've been there before, and I know you've been there before. And I don't know if it's just a female thing. I'd be interested actually, is it a male thing? Have any of you guys out there have had this experience where friends of yours just don't support you with setting up a new business?
I've with the groups of, say, males that I know, particularly through places like BNI, Roz, if you're still watching, they're amazing. Like, they're amazing. I see them show up to each other's stuff all of the time. You know, whatever it is, it's an event in the morning, it's an event in the evening, it's an event in the afternoon. They're always showing up for each other. The men for the men, and the women for the men, and the men for the women. Like, they're always just showing up. And I don't know whether it's just that they have a really tightly woven network in the way they do things. But
well, I tell you one thing why, I think.
Okay.
Because in the BNI particularly, you're only allowed one person of a particular service or a particular service.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's not allowed to be overlap or compete in the business. And I think that's why you're not battling to be the best. Okay. And that's why you're always going to do referrals all the time. Whereas if you had a gym and someone else at the gym,
oh yeah,
the conflict happens and the fucking the nails come out. Do you know what I mean?
Ego kicks in massively.
Ego kicks in massively. I have to say that's one thing I don't have. I don't think in business is ego. I don't think I have an ego in the business.
I'm the same. Like, I've never, in anything I've ever done when it comes to fitness, I would be the best supporter of anybody who opens whatever they want to open. I'm there for it. I'm so supportive. I want you to succeed. The more you do, the better I'm feeling. I think that's just absolutely amazing. And that's how I've been in every single area of my life. I'm for the person, never against.
No. In fact, actually, I could possibly be a little bit or a large pain in the arse when it comes to someone setting up a business, because I love business. And
Hi, Davinia.
Hi, Davinia. And I swear to God, it's like, it's easier for me to drive them on to succeed than it is for myself, because I'd have my own fears and what people think about me.
That's so funny.
But I would drive somebody else on, like, literally. I have this vision of holding my son by his feet up in the swimming pool and supporting him so he can stand up really tall. And I swear, I'd nearly go my children and go, oh my God, we're doing it, we're up so high. And I'm like, I'm literally elated with them. Like, I'm so excited, like, you'd never guess, would you? And so I probably then have a tendency to take over a bit, I think.
But that's how I feel.
I need to pull back and let my little darlings have their fall to see that it is tough, so that when I'm not there, that they can do this by themselves, they can achieve, but there is a safety net.
But you'll do that with them. But I'm very like you with supporting other people who set themselves up, because I can nearly see the vision for somebody else quicker than they can see it themselves.
Yeah.
And you know that because you've experienced that push and the drive. And I can't help it because I can see it already, what's about to happen. And I'm sitting there going, yes, do it, yes, do it, yes, do it, you can do it. Meanwhile, the person is about 45 steps behind me going, I'm delighted that you feel like that about me, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And
well, you see, it depends, because say with my businesses, like I always had the vision, but it's like when I said to you, like this is going to come across cocky, guys, but this is how we are when we talk to each other. Like I do actually feel like I'm on the cusp of greatness. Like I've been saying this last 2 years to myself, like I feel like I'm on the cusp of greatness. Like I get this ball of fire inside me, right? And then I'm saying to Kira, but I'm not making any money. Do you know, well, I am making money, but I'm not making the money that I would like to be, that I kind of sustain myself, do you know,
yeah.
Like separate to the family, do you know. And
the family, it sounds like the Italian mafia. Separate to the family.
Well, because because look, at obviously I'm there. We share amongst the family and everything else. But to have, my old granny always says, make sure you always have enough money to get your hair done and do your own things. So they're never saying, and you get your hair done again, do you know. But no, we have a great relationship. But yeah, so I have the vision, but I think I want to add bells and jingles and jangles into my whole vision that I think, oh my God, this is so big now, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah,
like,
before it starts.
Who said it? Like you get spiritually constipated or something.
I like that.
And
Thea says, you were right. Whatever I have done as a freelancer, I never asked friends so that I don't get disappointed. Regarding support in general, I had a very close friend, like I loved her like a sister. She knew I was going through a challenging time with my son's health issues, and she didn't even pick up the phone to see if we're okay. This resonates so much, doesn't it, Tell? I had supported her so much when I could. It is sad. I don't hold it against her, but it was disappointing. Girls, you're on fire. Thanks, Thea, and thank you for sharing. It does. It is.
Yeah, the realization is hard. That I think this is what myself and Kira have discussed before. If you're giving of yourself and not expecting anything back, then you don't begrudge.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are expecting something back, and I know you say, Kira, you give and you don't expect anything back, and maybe that's true, but part of me, for myself, I think I don't know how that can be, because I do expect respect back. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to give of myself, okay, it's up to myself. There's probably like different levels. So if I give myself maybe to hearsay, then that's grand. I don't expect anything back. But if I go full throttle, then like say maybe here, then I probably would expect a little bit back, you know. But then if I give this much and I know I'm giving this much, that's not about them, that's about me. Mm-hmm. And I should know that they're not going to reach that bar. Not that they can't, but I shouldn't be expecting them to, because I went in with this much. Then it's on me then if I feel let down.
So explain what you mean. So let's use an example. Right, if I say to you, I'm going to give you 3 months of coaching, right? And that coaching is going to consist of 4 Zoom calls that can take up to 2 hours, right? And that it's going to consist of a plan that I'm going to make out for you. And that's an expensive plan on my program, right? And that means a serious amount of time you and I are going to do together. What do you think equates to that you can give me?
Oh Jesus, I don't know. That's a very tricky one now.
But this is what I mean. So like, what are you saying that you want to, like, do you mean that you need to get a service back or something back that's on the same level of something that you've provided?
Yeah, like if I so say for somebody who's starting up their business and they say to me, oh, tell them I was thinking about doing a nail bar or whatever, and so I give them a few ideas, and then that's grand. But then they come back to me again and they're asking me, say, loads and more ideas, and I kind of give of myself even more. And I don't mind doing that, but it's on me then if I go over the top, where I start doing loads of research and find out, like, okay, what type of nail products should they do, mm-hmm. where their competition lies at, where they lack in comparison to where their competition is at, and this, that and the other, and we're just all about the business. If I go in full drive into that, it's on me then that she's how can I explain this now? I've gone over above and beyond, and that was my doing. Mm-hmm. And if she pulls out and doesn't want to do it or is not happy with what I said, it's on me, and I shouldn't be hurt or let down or feeling begrudged, because she never asked me mm-hmm. to do all that. Mm-hmm. So I have to mind myself when I go full throttle, because it's not my business. They didn't ask for that. So I kind of have to watch about how much level I give to somebody else.
So you're looking more for the respect that a person would give you of their time. So if somebody comes to you looking for X, Y, and Z, and you do go above and beyond and help them in whatever way that you choose to, and then give that to them, you're just looking for the respect back from them, that they appreciate the fact that you've done what you've done.
Yeah.
That's totally fine though. Like, that's not being selfish. That's not anything. You're not expecting 50,000 euros. You're expecting something that's, I would consider, common courtesy. Somebody to say to you, regardless of whether they asked you to do something or not, thank you so much for spending your time, because time is the most precious thing we have. So if people don't appreciate your time, I think that's much bigger than people not appreciating the things that you do.
Yeah.
You know,
like somebody said to me, they're trying to come up with the name of their business. So I went hell for leather then looking for a name of the business, and I did loads of research and different things and tried to make it something that would be unique to them and that means something to them. And then I did that, and it was like, all right, okay, thanks. It wasn't even like, nothing was done about it. I kind of felt like, what was the point? Like, why did I even do that now? So I now know not to give any more to that person.
See, we're quite similar in that we have to do to learn. Like, we have to do something and then get a slap on the wrists to learn. Okay, we don't
sometimes
do that
I need to be run over by a truck.
And that's
I'm the most forgiving person in the world. Like, I literally, haven't I? I literally get like, I don't know what.
Sia said a very good comment there. Why don't you set expectations from the start? Well, Sia, we had this conversation in the pool. We were in the pool. It sounds like we do nothing but go in the pool these days. So we had a conversation in the pool the other day about kind of this, you know, setting that plan from the start. So here's what I'm willing to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I charge. Now you can choose. And if the person... Even the intake of breath there.
I hate boundaries.
I know, but they're so important.
But boundaries were never modeled to me very well in all my life. So boundaries to me is like, I feel being chastised, and it really like, it's like putting a fucking Trump's wall.
So we're going to there now.
That's what it feels like to me. And so like, maybe if I can decorate the wall and put like lots of windows in it and stuff like that, you know, but I'd have an ice cream van there or something, like, you know, but
imagine how it would feel if, say somebody came to you, right? So I'll use an example that you're going to know what I'm talking about. Say somebody came to you and they asked for your help with something.
Yeah.
And in that situation, you actually managed to say, no problem, I'll do this one for free, but coming up for every single event going forward, my consultation fee is, boom. Big old boundary. Big old expectation set.
Yeah.
Then you see going forward, that person or those people will never approach you again for anything for free, because you've just set your line and you've said, I said I'd do the first one for free because it's for whatever. And now I've decided that I value my time and my energy and my imagination and my vision and my thought process and my ability to support you and to push you forward and to make you the best version of you. And for that, I charge this. When it comes to business, at 1, active listening, 2, identify customers' needs, 3, set expectations, 4, come to an agreement. Oh my God, we might just.
When it comes to business, I 1, active listening. Oh yeah, there's no problem with that now. I would probably say set expectations, number 1, and come into agreement, number 4. Yeah.
Very good, Sia. There you go, Tama. You can fiddle around with that one. But it is scary.
When I have when I had the salon and that, so there's prices and there's a price list, and you go by that, so they know. But I know when I did say when I did house calls and that, like, Jesus, I'm as soft as water, right? Or as hard as water. But and that people do tell me these sob stories, or I know it was kind of recession time at the time, and you know, this is costing this much and I had to save all week and blah blah blah, and then sure gobshite here then is putting in more highlights and doing a few bit extras for them and that. And I'll never forget this one time then, I don't care what anybody has usually because it's not my business, but I had gone to the toilet, and in front of me in the toilet was this cabinet. It was glass, so I couldn't not see it. Well, there was Clarins, there was like every top brand of stuff, just like literally in glass, like right in front of me on the toilet. And I was like, Thelma, you are such a sucker. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people give you a sob story so that you're going to charge less, you know, and it's a little bit difficult like that. And then I suppose in regards to there's like a platform when it comes to specific businesses. So when I do the yoga, there is a price that people charge per yoga class. So that's already there, put in place. So then it's no harm charging. But when it's something off the cuff or it's something that people aren't used to having a figure on, that's the tricky one.
Well,
because people don't like paying for time.
I had my mastermind yesterday morning, the one that I run on a Monday, and actually this came up, and one of the ladies was saying, you know, she didn't know how to charge or what to charge or even how to put it up, and whether to lead with money or do it at the end of the conversation. And the general consensus, bar one, was lead with money, because I don't know about any of you guys, I really don't like being sold to. I don't like when someone says, okay, I'm going to tell you all about what I'm doing now, and 15 minutes later the price still hasn't happened. And meanwhile I'm like, well, I don't know if I want it. I don't know if it's really super, super expensive. I don't know if it's super cheap. I don't know what it is. Can you just tell me? So what I do now is I say, right, this is what it is. This is what I charge. And then this is what the options are. And somebody came up with a brilliant idea yesterday and said, do a from to. So my prices range from packages. To. Yeah. But you only have to put that because you do different packages. So then your lowest end price could be something that people ring and be like, yeah.
So there's a budget for everybody.
Exactly. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. People think that because you're friendly and chatty and create rapport that you can be there 24/7 without a price. Fact, the absolute fact. And those are the people who do not have any respect whatsoever for your time. And for me, a friend of mine, he says something amazing. He says, my love is unconditional, my time is not.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful.
And can I tell you something that used to bug me, right? So when I had my salon, right, I used to give discounts to my friends and serious discounts to my families and that, okay? And like, so they would be getting off like, say, 20 euros, sometimes 30 euros, and sometimes I might do their hair for free. And I would be given this massive discount. And yet when you're out at night, they wouldn't put their hand in their pocket to buy you a drink. They'd say like, oh, that's your round. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not, all the money I've given you for free throughout the year.
But see, that was your expectation that you put on them when that was your choice to give them that. Yeah. So even though you were putting that expectation out there,
because they'd be saying to me, oh yeah, now you know what to give your friends and mates rates and all this kind of crack. And then so I felt guilty and I was like, all right, okay, this is how much I would do it for. And Damien said to me, at the end of year one in your first business, and when you realise that most people either break even or don't make any profit in the first year, hi Jonah, that he said, I want you to do a rough price as to how much your friends' cutters cost throughout the year and add up how many friends you can discount to and your family.
Brilliant
and
idea.
See how much that's cost you. And I'm like, oh my God. Massive. Oh my God. So like, that's my profit right there. So then I texted my friends and I said, hi guys, I said, I've had a good exercise to do. So I'm now giving everybody 10% off every time they come in. Yeah, I lost friends with that then.
Those were never your friends to start with. That's really horrible. Brilliant exercise. Fair play to Damien for that.
Yeah.
But and brilliant for you to learn what they were there for.
Yeah. Like
horrible,
guys,
though.
If we could actually find out, like we've just chatted about this in the last while, to reevaluate our friends on a constant basis to see, and another friend asked me about it, are your friends, is your friendships getting mutual respect or whatever it is that you need for each other to sustain the friendship?
Are you the friend that pulls everyone along? Are you the most positive in your group? Are you the one that's the most...
Are you the gel that keeps them all together? That instigates going out for dinner? That's the one that sets up the WhatsApp and that you're all texting to each other?
Yeah.
Are you the one that constantly texts us all the time and then they say, oh, I must give you a ring?
Yeah.
They don't ring.
Like who are you in your friendship? And if you're, and this is, I can't think of a way to say it better at the minute. Are you the most fully grown and emotionally aware in your friendship, in your friendships? Because if you are, and all of the people in your circles have to grow, are you willing to be their teacher going forward? Is that the position that you want to put yourself in? Or would it be more fulfilling for you to find people who are farther ahead than you and to learn and to grow from them and then get to your next level. And sometimes it comes across as really cold and really selfish, but for anyone who knows either of us, neither of us are cold or selfish. But in order to grow, you have to be around people who are growing.
Elevate you.
Completely. And who are...
Flame your... What is it?
Fan your
flame. Fan your flame, not piss on your fire.
Yeah, I don't want anyone pissing on my fire.
No. Will Smith said that. He said every 6 months he goes through his Facebook, all his social media and his friends, and anybody who pisses on his fire, he gets rid of them. And anybody who fans his flames, they're in. Yeah. But I have to say on that though, and I think you're 100% right with everything you said, but for me, I don't expect my whole group to be of the same type of nature or caliber or whatever you want to call it. Like all my circle of friends, they're all so different because I like different ones for different reasons. So collectively, they make the perfect person. You know?
I love it.
And so there's some I wouldn't go to for advice because they're not that type of person. They have many talents, but that just might be something that they're not involved in, maybe for whatever reason.
But just can I ask you one question? I know I cut across yet. Do any of your current friends now use you for your talents or skills? That's the only question. In a way that feels uncomfortable for you.
I don't think the friends that I have now use me. They might utilize me. No, they don't.
Brilliant.
The friends I have now, I don't think use me because I have opened my eyes, if you like, in the last year, 2 years, to seeing, am I being laughed at? Because that's not kind, being the butt of other people's jokes because, we're outgoing and we're bubbly and we can take the piss out of each other. So people find it easy to boost themselves up so they take the piss out of us in front of a whole group of people. So I've been up against that and I have literally let them kind of fall away. If I'm the one who's the instigator of the constant ringing and texting and everything else and that they don't do it, then again, I'm going to pull back. And if there happens to be distance for a good while between us, then what was the point? And I do know that we don't always have to be around people to have friendships. Like we don't see each other all the time, but you know there are certain ones that you need to keep the connection with and there's other ones that you don't have to see for a year and you're still quite friendly. Now,
people tend to think that life coaching, etc., because it's like being a priest, then you shouldn't get paid. Well, you need the money to survive. Fact. In a friendship, I always make the same mistake. I tend to give a lot, and then when I can't for any reason, especially now that I've become a mother, people don't like it. Well, I have responsibilities too, especially when I do 2 jobs and several freelancing projects. I don't believe you. What don't you believe? Life coaches are always used by friends and family and other people who don't consider it a job. The thing about that, Sia, is life coaches are always used if they allow themselves to be. Yeah. So the thing is, we have choice, and my responsibility is that I'm in charge and in control of myself, same as you. So when we give that power away and when we tell other people by the actions that we have, it's totally okay for you to use me, then that's not the other person's fault. That's all on me.
100%.
And when I have big expectations on people, if I don't believe that she is not used, that Thelma's not used.
I've gone through my years of it.
She has. And now I think she's got a good group of people around her who are
respectful.
Yeah, and they understand the person that she is, and so would never use her. There's a difference though when you use the word utilize and use. I love the word utilize. I know they're of the same thing, but when you utilize somebody's skills to help you or to benefit you, and you can do that in a respectful way, and you know that you're going to get something or give something back, that's totally fine. She's very giving. She's very, very giving, but she definitely has learned a lot and is in a much better place to mind herself, which I think is really good. I love how we're talking about you like you're the cat's mother. But when you utilize, so like I know what you're good at and you know what I'm good at, and if we're in a situation where we need something,
utilize each other's skills.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really important, because what the hell would you have a friendship with somebody?
So utilize the positive.
I know you do, see. I know we're having a giggle because this is what we do. Of course, we know that you're saying it with a good heart. You can say whatever you want. It'll very, very rarely offend either.
She's pinching me under the table. Will you stop?
If we cry, then we're blaming you, okay?
And guys, I don't mean to rude after round this up in a minute because, well, actually, it's now time to pick up Jonah. But I was speaking to a counsellor one time, and she says to me that, like you, Ciara, that she has to have strict boundaries around friends and that. So you wouldn't be so forthcoming in trying to fix somebody, or if they had an issue with something or a problem with a particular thing. If you're normally the one to kind of go in and help, then once you've done training and you want to get paid for it, you're not so quick to go in and blah, 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 and give up what it is that you can give them and you can help them. But also I think that what gets cross lines as well is your ego. If you have an ego because you think, oh my God, I can fix everybody, you're just going in and you're going saying, oh, you should do this and this and this and this and this and the other, and then you feel used.
Yeah, but only if you allow yourself.
Yeah, so boundaries.
So we would like to know, when has it happened that you have had those lines crossed between friendship and business? How has it happened? Who's it happened with? Has it happened in any male situations, or has it always been female?
Have you learned from it? Are your friends still there, the ones you've practiced it with?
Yeah, and do you clean up your friends? Like, my Facebook deleted 270 people the night before last. Felt great. My Instagram deleted 700 people. Oh, felt amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm down to the bare bones of people I actually like. And that's genuine. And the other thing is, you know, if you're not having a relationship in real life and it's all virtual, don't feel like you can't kick it to the curb if it's not serving 100%. You in any way, shape or form. It's virtual for a reason. Real life relationships are much more important than virtual relationships.
See who fans your flames and not pisses on your fire.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say, because I really have to go, is Oprah Winfrey, her, don't come on here, darling, her, how much she makes every year came up, they made it public, and she was absolutely mortified because she wanted to give money to charities and different things that she saw fit herself, right? She doesn't have to do this, but she chose to. And then when they publicised then how much money she was making, she was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed now and mortified, because not so much embarrassed, but just that everybody comes up to her door and they're hounding her saying, and using what she would say because she loves helping the children. We know how much you love to help the children, and this charity's come up and could you put money towards this? And then she decided, someone said to her that it's your money. You spend it what way you want. It doesn't matter that you've got all this money or not. It's yours. People feel, oh, because someone's got money, so they should just give it out to everybody. Firstly, work your ass off yourself and make your own money in life, right? Don't be depending on other people to bail you out, right? But somebody said to her, the best person to practice on is a friend. So this guy asked her and said, Oprah, will you donate to this charity? And she said no, and he said that's fine. And she was like, oh my God, he said no. And I said no, and he said that's fine. Like, are you not annoyed? He goes, no, it's your money. It's up to you who you want to give it to. And she realised in that moment, I can't say no. I've tried this with a friend. I'm going to now try it with others, and I still have a friend at the end of it.
Exactly.
This can happen.
They're the right people in your life, for sure. The same thing came up just before you go with a coach that I follow online. She's amazing. Her name is Michelle Stonehill, and she put up the other day on her public Facebook, just hit 2 million, meaning that she just made 2 million euros, 2 million pounds. And of course, everybody was messaging with these amazing messages of well done, congratulations. She's really vocal about when she hits her milestones, and I think that's powerful. Then she put up a post afterwards, and she did a live on it, and she was like, so many people messaged her horrible messages, telling her that she was a show off, that she loved herself, you know, that she was full of herself. People obviously crying the poor
She should be full of herself, and she should love herself.
Absolutely, she's worked hard, and it's only taken her, I think, like 18 months or 2 years to get to this 2 million mark, because she's worked her arse off. Of course you're going to tell people about it again. Totally. So find the right people for you. Understand the difference between a business friendship and a friendship. Set your boundaries and be really, really specific about the things that you're willing to tolerate, because if you don't teach people how you want to be treated, they'll treat you any way they want. Thelma's awesome. I'm awesome.
We're on YouTube under Thelma Gibbons and Ciara Heenan, and I'm on Thelma Gibbons That's Live. So I'm sorry I wasn't on last Friday. Myself and Ciara got chatting. We got chatting in front of the camera and never rolled the camera
on.
Yeah. So next Friday we'll do that. Guys, I hate to rush off. My child has get picked up, so I'm a very capable mother.
Have a great day.
Love you.
Love you loads. Mwah. Bye, guys.